It is a Mexican feast today in the sartorial kitchen. Kicking things off, it's a fresh black bean salad with a lime vinaigrette. Then it's the main course, pastel de pollo, or a Mexican chicken pot pie. Then it's my semi-homemade tres leches cake. And last but not least, frozen margaritas. So why don't you pull up a chair and dine with me?
Back to the kitchen, everybody. I've got all my ingredients from the garden. I've got all my ingredients from the fridge. I've got my canned ingredients. I am ready to go. So we're starting off with a black bean salad. I wanted to do something fresh, something kind of different. The entree I'm making, it's a very hearty kind of dish, so I wanted something light and refreshing. And salads like this are great for like the summertime, and we're at the end of the summer now. So I've got a lime here. I've got 2 limes actually. I'm going to go ahead and juice this one. I need the juice of about 2 limes. That's going to really get a lot of that juice out. Now, this other lime, I want to zest just a little of it. Just a little. Zest is kind of strong. We need just a little. So I'm only doing one of the limes. Maybe not even the whole lime. So I'm using parsley instead of cilantro. Normally I would put cilantro in a dish like this. But some of my friends are of the people who find cilantro to taste like soap. So I still want a nice fresh herb, green element. I grow parsley out back. It's just flat leaf Italian parsley. But I figured if I add a little bit of this lime zest in with it, you would get kind of a similar flavor without the pungency. Alright, that should be good. That's enough. And then always check the back for stragglers. I have some agave here. Agave, it's similar to honey. It's a nectar. And it's nice and sweet, so it's going to play nicely with the acidity of the lime juice here. I just need a couple tablespoons. Yum. And then some extra virgin olive oil here. I'm going to take this guy off. I need about 1/4 cup. And then do some salt here, a nice generous helping of salt. I want all these vegetables in the salad to have lots of flavor. Some pepper. And to make this just a little funky, some cumin. There's going to be some cumin and just a little, just enough to know it's there. Maybe about a teaspoon. There's going to be some cumin in the entree. It's a chicken chili of sorts. So I thought it would be nice to kind of incorporate it a little bit in the salad as well. And then I'm just going to take my whisk here and whisk this up just until the honey and everything's incorporated. And the oil is going to kind of help emulsify everything. Alright, I'm going to start with my corn from earlier. This I picked out of the garden. This is Silver Queen, is what I grew out back. It's nice and sweet. So it's going to add another nice sweet element to our salad here. And we're also going to get some texture. I want this salad to have lots of different things going on, textures and flavors and all of that. So you just kind of peel back its different layers. Snap that end off at the bottom. And just kind of come in. Make sure you get all the silks. We don't want silks in our salad. Now we can stand this guy up nice and tall. And then I'm just going to run my knife down along the sides here and get all the corn kernels without getting any of the innard of the corn, because that's inedible. And I'm just going to slide that right into my bowl. Perfect. Alright. So we did corn, that's a fresh ingredient. Now I'm going to move on to the black beans here. We do want to drain all the liquid from this. I do not need it in our salad. Put those guys right in. Alright. Now to another fresh ingredient. I've got a shallot here. Just one shallot. I like the shallot. It's a little sweeter than a regular onion, which just kind of gives you that sharpness. But you're still going to get a little bit of zing out of this. Plus it's smaller. I don't want a whole lot in here. I just want a little bit of that punch. So I'm just gonna slice this guy up. It's already in 2 halves. And I just want to mince it pretty finely. There's a few guests who aren't big onion fans, so I'm trying to be mindful of that. Alright, right in there. Just nice thin diced pieces. I've got some roasted red peppers here. Now I grow bell peppers in the garden too, and you can use those if you want. I usually do the orange or the yellow because they're sweeter. But I thought the roasted quality would add another depth of flavor here to the salad. I'm just going to slice those in half and dice those up. I'm going to dice them small like the onions and the corn. I want everything to kind of eat the same. So it's good to have all your vegetables diced similarly. And this is this is starting to look really good, guys. Nice and colorful, flavorful. Right, I'm going to do the parsley next. And I'm just going to kind of come through and shave this off of the stem. Okay, that's going straight in. Beautiful. Just gonna kind of incorporate everything, and I think that looks pretty good. I just want to come in here and give it a little taste. I want to make sure everything's good before Yes. Nice. I'm getting that punch from the lime. Perfect amount of sweetness, perfect amount of salt. Of course, this is going to be even better once it marinates. I'm going to put a lid on this and pack it in the fridge, and it'll be ready to take with me tomorrow. And we will move on to the main course. Welcome back, everybody. Moving on to the main entree. And that is also the title of our episode, Pastel de Pollo. Pollo is Spanish for chicken, or pollo. And pastel is Spanish for pie. So we are making a chicken pot pie, or pie of the chicken as it literally translates. So I did a similar cook in season 3 of a shepherd's pie. A Spanish take on that, and it was a lot of fun. So I wanted to try it with pot pie. I mentioned before, one of my guests is not a huge onion fan, but I do want some onion in here for flavor, give it that punch, and I never make any kind of soup or stew or chili without onion. So I'm grating it here. I'm using a kind of medium attachment here. What's also great about this is it's releasing the natural juices of the onion, so it's going to caramelize faster than it would if I were to just chop it. I think that'll be pretty good. It's just a medium Spanish onion or yellow onion. I like them better than the white. I think they're a little sweeter, and then I'm just going to slide that right in. Give that a quick stir. Since it is minced, it's not going to take as long to cook down. I'm just going to let that go, maybe not even a whole minute. But I am going to start with my seasonings here. We always do our flavors in layers. Lots of salt and pepper. This is already smelling good. Let's get some other things ready here. I've got some garlic. You can use fresh if you want, but I like, sometimes, depending on what it is I make, I like using my preserved garlic because I get that garlic oil. And I'm going to do about a teaspoon and a half. Make sure we get some of that oil. I always wait to add my garlic so it doesn't burn. I'm just going to stir that in, and I love the smell of garlic. As soon as it hits that pan, it just gets nice and fragrant. And a few other things here. I've got a can of green chilies. Now normally I would drain this, but not today. I want the liquid, it's going to help stretch this out, and it's just free flavor. So it's going to go right in. That's what's going to give this nice little heat, little kick, sweet heat. I'm going to stir that in. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit, let it kind of simmer. For our beans, I know some people like to argue, real chili doesn't have beans. Well, chicken chili certainly does. It's white beans here. And again, I am not draining the liquid. Free flavor. I'm just dumping this whole can in. We're going to stir that around. That's gonna... The beans are, they've already been processed, so they really just need to come to temp. That's why I wait to add them. I don't want them to break down too much. And what's great about beans, they're technically a protein. So you could leave it like this and have like a vegetarian option. They're also a starch, so as they cook down, they're going to release some of that starch. There's also starch in the preserving liquid, so that's going to help thicken this up for us. And then to that, I need some chicken stock here. About 2 cups, or half this container. I don't want this too soupy, like a stew or chili, because we are putting the cornbread on top, so I do want this to be kind of reduced. So I'm going to let it cook down some. I'm going to turn that up. Now, as I turn that up, I'm also going to turn up the heat here. So I've got some cayenne. I'm going to do about a 4th teaspoon. I want this to have some heat. Not too much, but just enough to really kind of kick it up a notch. And then again with our cumin, we're going to do a couple tablespoons of that. I want this to have lots of rich flavor. That looks pretty good. You'll know when you've got enough because you get that kind of rich color. And then that I'm going to let cook down. Once that starts to reduce a little bit, we'll add our chicken. But while we wait on that, I'm going to go ahead and start prepping the topping. So I'm going to start with my flour. I need a half cup of flour. And then I need a cup and a half of cornmeal. There's a half cup. And then the whole cup. Beautiful. Some salt. I need about a half teaspoon of salt. And then of course our baking powder. I need 2 teaspoons of that. That's what's going to help this rise. To whisk my dry ingredients together so everything's well incorporated. It's also good if your flour has any lumps in it. It's good. You can either sift it or kind of whisk it to break all that down. That's lovely. Alright, now for the wet. I'm going to start with my eggs. And these are room temperature eggs. I want everything kind of the same temperature so it all cooks the same. I'm going to drop that down. And I'm cracking them slowly to watch for eggshells. We do not want eggshells in our cornbread. That's brilliant. Sour cream. Why sour cream? This is one of my secret ingredients. This is going to give us a nice, moist cornbread here. I just want a half cup. I'm also going to be using some of this in our dessert later. Just go ahead and get all that out. This is a nice, healthier option to using like lard or oil. And it's going to give us a nice tang as well. And it's going to counteract some of the heat with the jalapeno that I'm adding. So that's good on that. Alright, milk. You need a cup and half. And then we just give it a whisk. Here, mixing up that sour cream. I don't want to overwork this. I don't want that flour to get tough on us. And then I just come down around the sides and stir everything in. This guy's great for pino. And you think this guy is so little, but the thing with peppers is the smaller the pepper, the hotter it is. And this guy's plenty hot. So I'm actually going to get some gloves. And then I'm going to slice down the middle here. Now I'm just going to come in here with the knife. And I'm going to dig out the membrane here and the seeds. Definitely the seeds is what I want to avoid because that's the hottest part, is the seed. And I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to heat, but I figured one little jalapeno sans the seeds would be good. That is going to be just enough of that. Perfect. No seeds. Alright, now you can't have jalapeno cheddar cornbread without some cheese. This is a Fiesta blend. It's got some queso in it. It's got white cheddar. I'm going to add about a half cup. And then I'm also going to throw some on top before it goes in the oven. But I'm just going to stir that in. You've seen me use canned chicken before, so don't blow your lid. This is Keystone. It's the only brand of canned chicken I'll use, because it's actually a decent quality canned chicken. Unless I'm doing like a chicken salad or something just for myself. I really will not mess with any other kind of chicken. I'm going to drain this preserving liquid though, because it's very sodium enriched, so it's bright. Fry this guy up. What I like about this is it's already cooked. And I'm going to turn this down really low, a really low simmer. And I'm just going to slowly dump in this chicken. Nice. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come in here with my spoon and break that up. It comes out in one block. And this chicken's already cooked. That's one reason I love using it for soups and stews. You put it in last minute and just let it come to heat. And you're done. Right. I'm just going to dump this guy right in. Doesn't that look good? Now, I'm obviously going to have to let this cool down before I throw my batter on top. So I think I'm going to chill, and let this guy chill out for a little bit in my fridge. Otherwise, the heat from the broth here is going to start to cook that. And we're not cooking this until tomorrow at Roof's. I'm going to have it prepped and then we'll just throw it in the oven when I get there. And I think that would be better than reheating it. So I'm going to clean up now and move on to our dessert. Alright, dessert time. And I'm making a tres leches cake. So again, for those who don't speak the language, tres is just Spanish for three. Leches is Spanish for milk, so 3 milks. Or 3 types of milk. Now, traditionally, it's evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk, and heavy cream or half and half. But I wanted to do something a little different here. I've got some coconut milk. That's going to give it a different kind of flavor here. And I'm just throwing in my milks here. I want to mix them together before I pour them over my cake. So there is the evaporated milk, the sweetened condensed milk, which is almost like a caramel. That's just milk that has been reduced and sugar added to it. So it's nice and sweet. Yum. And then of course the coconut milk, which is just going to add some kind of nice kind of tropical feel and get all of that in. The zest, that's going to go into the whipped cream that I'm going to be topping this with afterwards. So I guess technically it's a quattro leches. And this is a very simple dish to put together. I've got a store-bought angel food cake. You can make your own sponge if you want. You just have to wait for it to kind of cool down before you throw all the milks in. It's perfectly fine to use a store-bought cake. And I thought with the heaviness of the milks, I thought I would do a lighter cake like a angel food. You just want some kind of sponge cake. I definitely wouldn't use like a pound or a chiffon or something like that. That's going to kind of fall apart when it gets too much liquid in it. A sponge here, angel food. And I just got a nice large round. I'm going to transfer this to another container though. I don't think I want to leave it in there. Now it's time to prep our cake. Got a dowel here, and I'm just going to come in and just kind of do like a zigzag pattern and poke some holes into this. Try and get as close to the bottom as I can without going too far. I'm going to slowly drizzle this on top. And really I'm aiming for the holes. I want this thing to soak in nicely. I may not even need all of my liquid here. But you can see, you go nice and slow, the liquid's making its way down into the sponge. Which is, yeah, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to let this guy kind of set up in the fridge and get nice and acquainted there with the liquid, and I'm going to move on to my topping. Alright, the chicken chili has cooled down, and as you can see it has kind of solidified a little bit. Now I'm going to pour my batter right on top of this. Make sure I cover every corner of this. Beautiful. This is going to get the lid on it, and it's going to go back in my fridge, and that is just going to set up in the fridge and chillax, and then we'll bake it off at Ruth's tomorrow. Alright, time for the whipped cream topping for our cake. It is still chilling out in the fridge, absorbing all that leche goodness. So whipped cream. Got some heavy whipping cream here. The rest of this container, it's about a quart, maybe a little over. To that I want to add some sugar here to give it some sweetness. I'm going to do a cup. I want this to be good and sweet. To this, also a little vanilla here. I like to use the good vanilla. About a teaspoon of that. Now I want this to have some tang, so I've got some more of that sour cream from earlier. And we are just going to do about a couple tablespoons of that. It's just going to add a little zing to our whipped cream. And then last but not least, lime zest from earlier. Most of it's on the hydroplane here. And then the rest on this. And there we go. That's going to give it a nice freshness. It's also going to provide a lovely little hint of color. Alright, I've got my mixer here. I'm just going to start on a low setting. And just come in here. I want to incorporate all that liquid and with the sour cream and the sugar and everything before I go on high. Alright. Stiff peaks. And the other great thing about the stand mixer is getting to lick the beater. That's so good. Okay, cake is out of the fridge. I have transferred it back to my little store-bought container. I've got all this liquid left over. That's exactly why I changed it over first. Otherwise, that would have just ran all over my fridge. No good. So this looks gorgeous, and you can see it's just got a little jiggle to it. It's absorbed all that beautiful milky goodness. Now I've got my little rubber spatula here, and I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to frost this guy. As first I'm going to get on top here. Just a nice layer on top. A nice generous helping. I just want to cover especially all the little holes that I poked in the cake. That's the main reason I'm doing this. Then we'll come, I don't like to get too technical with it, but I just kind of like to let it kind of run down the sides. Just kind of start up top and let it come right down. Tell me that does not look gorgeous. Oh my goodness. I got a little whipped cream left over, but that's okay. I've got some fresh berries to pick out in the garden, so that'll be an easy dessert for another night. I'm going to pop the lid on this and take it back in my fridge, and I will be ready for the party tomorrow. See you guys soon. Welcome back, guys. As you can see, we are not in my kitchen anymore. We are in Ruth's kitchen because it is party time. I have already thrown my casserole in the oven. It's going to bake for about 30 to 35 minutes at 450 degrees. But while we wait on that, I'm going to move on to some cocktails. You cannot have a party without cocktails. And it is my frozen margaritas. I'm going to measure this out. I'm taking frozen berries. This is a wild berry mix. You can use any fruit you like, peaches, strawberries, just whatever's good. I'm going to go ahead and dump that in first. And I'm going to give that just a little pulse. And then we're going to move on to our liquor. I've got some tequila here, and I've got some triple sec, which is just an orange liqueur. I'm going to do about 3/4 cup of the tequila. And then I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of the triple sec. And that's to 1 cup of berries. So that's the ratio there. And that tequila is strong. And then just add your liquid. And give it a pulse. You're good to go. You don't have to mess with all the ice and all of that. The berries take care of it for you. Just go ahead and clean that up so it's nice and smooth. Alright, let's check this guy out. Oh, it looks great. You just want that nice velvety smooth consistency. And of course I'm going to give this a taste before I serve it to my guest. Cheers. So good. Just the right amount of liquor. You get that nice sweetness from the berries. And I think we are ready and just in time because I think I hear my guests. Guys, does that not look amazing or what? Nice and golden brown on top. I'm going to get my salad out and we will be ready to feast. I am digging in, ready to finally taste this casserole. Oh yeah, so good. Just the right amount of spices, and then you get that textural component from the cornbread topping. Absolutely perfect. We're gonna finish up here, and then I'm gonna get out my cake. So stay tuned. Dessert time. It is my Trace leches. Dig in.
Ooh.
Okay, you can stop that. Is that like a good piece? I guess.
Good.
Mmm. Oh my gosh, so good. It's not too moist, just the right amount of liquid, and then you get the richness from the whipped cream. Absolutely perfect.